understand the concept of bubble sort. Bubble sort is basically sorting the array ascending order or in descending order. Okay, so in bubble sort we basically sort out the array indexes, the values of array within the bubble. Okay, so each bubble will be containing two indexes, first index and then the second index, which will be called index plus 1. Index plus 1. So lists can be more useful if the items are sorted in the meaningful order. For example, names could be sorted in alphabetical order or numbers could be in ascending or descending order. So when I want to arrange this suppose I want to sort out this array in ascending order, so I need to make sure that the data is sorted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this order. Okay, so when I want to sort these two values, I'll compare 7 with the 6 and I'll say that if 7 like index is greater than the value index plus 1, then we need to swap. Like this value will be shifted here and the 7 would be shifted here. Okay, so every time we have to compare two values in a bubble, so index and index plus 1 will be compared, and if they want will be swapped based on the condition. Then we'll for the next pass we'll compare the second and the third. Okay, so second and third will be compared. After that the third and fourth will be compared, then fourth and fifth would be compared, and fifth and sixth, then sixth and seventh. So once all these values would be compared in the bubble, so once all the comparison would be done, only like if you are sorting in ascending order, only the last index would be sorted. Like the maximum value 7 would be pushed over here based on the algorithm that we're going to write. Okay, so there will be multiple passes. After each pass, the last index of that last considered index will be sorted. So for the first pass, when you convert 7 with the 6, so 7 is greater than 6, so the first iteration 6 would be written over here and 7 would be pushed in the second one. Now when the iteration number 2 of the loop will execute, so 7 is greater than 5. Now 7 would be cut from here. We'll be swapping these values and 7 will be pushed towards the third direction. Okay, once will be on the third iteration, 7 is greater than 4, so 4 will be swapped here and 7 will be written in the next one. Then 7 and 3 would be compared, and obviously 3 is the smaller value, so 3 would be written here and 7 will pushed over here. Okay, then 7 and 2, so when you will compare these two values, 2 is greater than 7 is greater than 2, so again I'll be cutting off this value. 2 will be swapped with 7. 7 will be written in the second last index. Then 7 and 1 would be compared, and obviously 7 is greater than 1. So at the end of the iteration, at the end of the loop, at the end of the for loop, when we'll compare all these values, so the last value is sorted. Okay, next time when we need to compare, we won't compare this value, we'll consider this as a last minus 1 because the last will be sorted. So we'll execute our loop from 1 till last minus 1. Okay, so next time we'll won't execute the code till 7th index number, will execute the code till 6th one. And once you'll compare in the next pass all of them, so you will see that the 6 would be pushed in the last index number. Okay, and then again we'll say last minus 1. It means that in the third pass we'll consider only these 5 values and the sorted ones will be left out. So let's see, understand the algorithm of the bubble sort. For this we'll be using two variables, first and last. First is considered as 1, last is 10, considering that the array that we are going to sort is of 10 indexes. So repeat. Then we have a variable swap. Swap is basically used to see if the values are corrected according to the question, according to the condition that would be given over here in this step. So swap will become true. For index is equals to first to last minus 1. First to last minus 1 means that it will start from 1, and if the array size is 10, so we want to execute it till 9. Okay, the reason behind that is because the loop will execute till 9. Okay, and for the array which has the 10 indexes, so when you will be comparing the index number 9, okay, so index number 9 will automatically be compared with the index number 10, because we are saying that this is index 1 and the second index will be called as index plus 1. Okay, so index and index plus 1. For the first iteration, 1 is index and index 2 is index plus 1. Okay, let's compare the first two values. We have said swap is equals to false. For index is equals to index. Now index here is the counter variable which is going to hold how many times this loop is going to execute. Okay, so we are saying for index is equals to first to last minus 1. If temperature of index, here this is the array name, it's not considerably that you can just sort the temperature, it can be any array. So just for the sake of understanding, I'm writing the array ARR. This is the array name. Okay, so we are saying if array of index is greater than array of index plus 1, like when the first value index value is 1 and we are going to relate it with index 1 plus 1, which will become 2. So the first index will be compared with the second index. Then we are saying if array of index is greater than index plus 1, if the value which is held in the first place is greater than the value that we are holding on the second place, if this condition is true. Now if we have 3 blocks and we want to swap the values of block A and B, okay, so the best method is that first we need to empty the first box and we'll put the value in the empty temp box for temporarily. So that I'll say the third empty box is temp. Okay, so I'll put the box A or values into the temp, then I'll push the value of temp block B to A, and from the temp I'll move into the B. Okay, so temp, first of all the value of index A box is basically considered as index, so the value of index will be pushed to our temporary variable temp. Okay, now the index is free now, so we'll say temperature of index, like array of index. Array of index is equal to array of index plus 1. Okay, now the second value of the B block is pushed towards the A, and then we'll say finally the index plus 1 is equals to temp. So basically we have swapped the value of index with the index plus 1, and because we have done successfully the swapping, we'll say the swap is equals to true, and then end if, and then next index. So this loop will execute unless or until the last becomes -1. Okay, until the last is and last is equals to last -1, and until or unless we sort out all the values, it will keep on executing. So these are the last two lines. Last is equals to last -1 until not swap, like the values are not swapping now, or last is equals to 1. So these are the two values, two things that you need to consider. uh, we are using the repeat until loop. The loop will keep on executing unless or until we observe that now no further swapping is being done and the array is sorted. Then we need to, so because sometimes it happens that after one or two passes you will feel like the array is sorted and we don't have to do the rest of the steps, and so in that case you can terminate the loop, or last is equals to -1. In any case, if the swapping is not being done or the last becomes 1, then it will be terminated. Let's understand this concept fully. Here we will be just declaring the arrays and variables, and then we'll be using all the terms that is required. So that's a full-fledged program, and in this program I'll be also giving you the comments, and then we'll be doing with the help of a procedure. So declare array length integer. Array length is equals to 5. Now this is not compulsory over here, but we are still declaring it as a global variable because we'll be creating a procedure. So for creating a procedure, I want to use the array length afterwards, so that is why I have declared this array length as a variable. So declare array length integer array length 5. Declare nums. This is the declaration of the 1D array. Nums array 1 to array length of integer data type, and then declare the target number integer. Now here I have initialized my array with these values 6, 3, 8, 2, 5, and this is how we are going to call we are basically creating two procedures over here: bubble sort and display arrays. So I'll just put it in the last because I prefer to design them first of all, and then at the end I'll be calling them. It doesn't matter wherever you call them, just should be outside the scope of the procedures. Okay, so procedures bubble sort, and we don't need any parameter over here. So and because that's a procedure, so it does not return any value. So you write down procedure, and then we'll just simply write down the name of the procedure, which is bubble sort. So now we have to declare different variables. Now temp index integer is sorted is boolean, and end of index is integer. Now here end index is basically the last variable which I was showing you in the slideshow, and is sorted is the boolean which is the sort variable, and temp is the temporary variable, and index the most important variable that will be working with to hold the value of the indexes of the array, so that would be index. Now declare temp index. Now keep that in mind, because we are declaring all these variables within this procedure, so these will be local variables of this procedure that won't be accessed outside this procedure. So we need to make sure, like here array length has been declared at the beginning of the program, so I can use this in bubble sort procedure. I can also use this in display arrays procedure. I can use this variable anywhere in the program, but any variable which is declared within the procedure and within the function cannot be declared outside, cannot be accessed outside. Now end of index is array length -1, because we have to consider the value. Suppose if we've got 5 indexes, so when we'll compare the index number 4 with 5, so automatically the index number 4 would be index, and index plus 1 would be 5. So we don't have to consider the last index number for the comparison, because when you'll say for count is equals to 1 till last, so it means that 1 to 5, so the 5th index number will try to compare the value of the 6th index, because index would be compared with the index plus 1. Now in this case we don't have any 6th index, so that is why we'll keep the range of our loop from 1 till 4. So once it will reach to the 4th iteration, it will automatically compare the 4th and 5th indexes. Procedure bubble sort, we have declared all these variables, and n index is equals to array length minus 1. So whatever is the array length, you just have to do minus 1. Is sorted is the variable which will going to hold the value to see that if the array is sorted or not. So currently I have declared it as a false variable, while is sorted is equals to false, do is sorted equals to true. Loop while not sorted, so the loop will only execute unless or until the is sorted is false. Okay, and suppose in the very next line I'm saying is sorted is equals to true, because is sorted at the start of each pass over all the pairs. If not swap made, then the loop will terminate after this iteration. Okay, so if it's sorted is true if there is no pass made. Suppose with at the very beginning of the array sorting, suppose the values that has been input by the user that are in a sorted manner, so I have declared is sorted as true, and when the loop will execute, if there'll be no swapping done, so that will be considered as sorted. For index 1 to end index, and end index we have already declared as array length minus 1, which would be 4 in this case. Okay, for index 1 to 4, if some nums of index is greater than the num of index plus 1, this is the array name on both sides. The main comparison is being done with the index and index plus 1. We are comparing the first index with the index plus 1. When the value of index is equals to 1, so 1 would be compared with the 2. If the first value is greater than the second value, we'll say temp is equals to index, then index would be free, so nums of index is equals to nums of index plus 1, and finally the nums of index plus 1 would be equals to temp. Okay, since at least one element is not corrected in order, so we need to loop again to continue sorting. Check is sorted is equals to false, and if and next index, and it will keep on continuing all the passes for the all the bubbles. It will sort all the bubbles one with the two. For first iteration, on the first iteration, first index will be compared with the second one. On second iteration, second and third would be compared. For third iteration, third and fourth would be compared. For fourth iteration, fourth and fifth would be compared. And we have given the range for 1 to 4. It means that for iteration number 4, the fourth and fifth value will be compared and the loop will be terminated. Okay. Before going on to the next pass, for the first pass, the last value will be sorted the way I shown you in the animation in the slideshow. So we'll basically do end index is equals to end index minus 1. Then we'll just say end while and end procedure. So this was the logic that we have created for the bubble sort of 1D array. We just need to compare the first value with the second one. If the first one is greater than the second one, then we need to swap them. And this code has been written for sorting the values in ascending order. Okay, so in the last year you've got a value to sort, got a question to sort the arrays in the descending order. For that we just need to change this logic, and we'll say if number of index is less than the number of index plus 1. Here we have used the greater than sign. For descending order you just need to change the sign. Okay, so we have created this logic. Let's see if after the sorting how we can display the array. So we'll say for index is equals to procedure display array. For index 1 to index 1 to array length, output number of index, next index, and end procedure. And afterwards, because these are the procedures, so procedure do have the output statement, so we don't have to use the output statement. In my last video where I told you about the functions of the linear search, I told you a function is always called with the output statement. But for the procedure, because the output statements are already written within the program, so we just need to use the call keyword, call bubble sort, and call display array. Okay, so let me just zoom it out. Show you the output. Let me just execute this. So it is basically sorting, showing you the sorted array, because I've called the bubble sort first of all. When I'll call the bubble sort, it will sort the values, and for the second procedure that I called display, so it will display the sorted values 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. So let's see how the things are happening in the background. So we'll see the trace table for this one. Okay, so let's run it again. Yeah, so this is how the things are happening at the back. The first thing is end index is declared as 4, because we know that the length of the array length is declared as 5. Okay, end index is 5 minus 1, which is 4. This is the initialization of the array 4, 6, 3, 8, 2, 5. Okay, is sorted. Firstly it was false, then it became true, then we can see that the iteration, the values is changed. For 3 and 6 would be compared. For the first one, 3 and 6 were compared for index number 1. When the loop in the iteration number 1, 3 and 6 was compared, and 3 was less than 6, so it was sorted in the first pass. Okay, and for the second iteration there was no sorting was done, because 6 is less than 8, so nothing has been done. For the third iteration, because 8 is greater than 2, so 2 was sorted, 2 was here, and then 8 was converted, swapped with the 2. Then on iteration number 4, you can see 5 and 8 was and at the end of the first pass, when the whole thing has been done, so 8 is sorted, because the maximum value that you can see in this array is 8. So that was sorted here, and then the end index became 3, because we said the end index would be array length minus 1. Then for the second pass, we've got the same things, sorting again. Okay, for the first iteration there was no nothing was swapped, then 2 and 6 were swapped, then 5 and 6 were swapped, and after the second pass completed, so the second value, the second largest value 6 was sorted. Okay, and then the end index will become 2. Okay, now the end index will become 2, and the loop will execute 1 till 2. So when for the iteration 1, 2 and 3 were swapped, for iteration 2 there was nothing swapped, and end index becomes 1. So when end index becomes 1, end index become 1, so the loop will be terminated, and after that we use call the second method, which is basically displaying the array. So it will display the values as sorted output 2, 3, 5, 6 and 8. So this was the trace table. Let me just download the CSV of it, or copy the rich text format. Okay, so you can also change the things from here. Show duplicates 9 numbers, you can also, okay, it will show you the line number. I'll just switch it off, and loop iterations, loop, pre-loops and post-loop, if statement, left to right, everything is sorted. Okay, so you can just download it and observe how the things are happening in the end. I hope you've understood the concept. If you still have any question, you can always ask me.